What's going on, everyone? Welcome to episode 264 of Littleroot Lessons. I'm Ro, and I'm joined by my fabulous co-host, Carter. How's it going, buddy?
I wanted to do the intro.
For the first time in like a year and a half.
That's not true.
It's...
Anytime me and Carl are on together, I still do it.
Yeah, because Carl doesn't do anything.
That's not true.
Well, no, for
Carl
the intro
edits.
or extra, he doesn't do the intro or outro. At least since he's left.
I remember like the first time that him and I were on together after his after he left. I'm like, all right, so you're gonna do the outro, right? Like mid episode. He's like, nope, Jay's doing it.
Oh no, we've done that before.
We're probably gonna do it this week.
No, I'm gonna try at least. There was one week with Carl, I just completely botched it, and I told him, can I just redo this again? He's like, oh no, I was just going to overdub you with Jay the entire time. I'm like, thanks for the vote of confidence. I've done my outros before, but yeah, the Jay has mastered the outro. There's no one better. But yeah, and Jay, of course, not here.
At the office door, batting at stuff under the door.
If my turtle was at the office door, I would be worried because I would be like, how'd you get out of the tank, buddy? Which, she's tried. So when I had both turtles, when Squirt was still alive, what they would do, the way, like, at that time, the way I had the rocks set up, they would climb one on top of the other, like a terrestrialized Terapagos, and just start punching the screen to try to see if they can get through it.
That's so funny.
Oh god, I miss dealing with that because I would just be working and you just hear, or I don't know if my bike picked that up, but if it did, that's what it would sound like. I would turn, what the hell are you doing? And they would know that they're doing something wrong because then they would immediately slide off the rock, pretend like they were innocent.
I don't know what that was. It's so weird. Yeah. That was so weird. I heard that too.
Yeah. But yeah, yes. And speaking of Terapagos, that's going to be how we get into this. We had our last regional in EU of the season. Of course, there's going to be more events in EU later on. However, everything from this point forward just going to be special events. And that is Stockholm. So, which is, I believe, also the last Red G event for the EU. So they can finally be free of this god-awful metagame. Because
I don't know what you're talking about. This format's great.
Okay, so here's the thing.
I actually hate this format, so...
I don't hate this format. I'm just really sick of playing it. It's not that I don't love it. I don't hate it. I'm indifferent. If I can choose other formats to play over single restricted, I would absolutely do that. I will say this, I personally enjoy this a little more than Regulation H. Also, I don't think I was able to give Regulation H a fair shot because I was getting married in the middle of it. And, more important things were going on. So, for the first time, because usually we just skim over the usage stats because they really weren't interesting.
There's some
spice.
There's some neat ones.
So we'll at least start with, this is just really quick, day one usage stats. Calorexes are on top. It is a bit of a surprise that you see almost 25% usage in Calyrex Shadow. I do think one of the things that we did notice in this tournament is that people are starting to use it more offensively. The Life Orb has been super popular, sometimes even Life Orb plus Terra Ghost. And it's with more hyper offensive pieces with a little balanced backbone instead of the team that we saw Montana Mott use to win, I believe it was LA last year, where Montana was super bulky, no speed, no special attack, I'm gonna boost and beat you, and just play balance better than you. That version we just haven't seen. Pay attention to the Zamazenta there at 8.7%. Note that, 8.7% usage for Zama. Moving on to a quick look at our day one of the non-restricted. Again, business as usual. You have Urshifu Rapid Strike on over half the teams. The Pivot Brothers in second and third in usage. Amoonguss, like pretty much like all different mons that play balance, play hyper offense, just like insanely powerful Pokemon that we just know to expect. No surprises.
Yeah, not really surprised by a whole lot of like the non-restricted mons.
Yeah.
I think the big thing is like Chi-Yu's starting to pop up again. Cornerstone is another one that's like everything else on this graphic. Had you shown me, I'm just like, yeah, those make sense. But like those two are the two that kind of stick out. But like I also think that like those are kind of like just two spots that like could be really whatever you wanted every week. Like it,
Yeah.
I like. There's nothing on the top row that surprises me.
Yeah,
and then like everything on the bottom row is just like, yeah. Depending on the week, I definitely see all of these being viable. So
yeah,
it's the simplest way to put it, I think.
Viewers, after noting the 8.3% of Zamazenta, 5th place in usage, note the 23% for Fire Pawn, 5th in usage. Note those. Remember those. Where's Zamazenta? Where'd you go, buddy?
He decided to just call it an early weekend, man. You know, sometimes regionals don't go your way, and sometimes you just gotta dip out and call it a day, and it's no big deal.
With a heavy usage of Calyrex Shadow at 28.6%, again, like a lot of Cali came, people are starting to play it a little differently. On paper, it should be the best restricted Pokemon, so no, it's not really much of a surprise. It's a bit of a surprise, but not a super surprise. You see it in the first in usage. Lunala just spiked an event last week. We should see it, again, do well at the 4.1%. Honestly, ever since Wolfe's win at UIC, Koraidon's just been on the up and up and getting into that like top 5, still behind Terapagos, who hasn't fully done anything yet, and Maridon. I think a lot of the Terapagos usage here is that the Italians are just pretty much farming and just like just completely grinding that Terapagos, Keytran, Screamtail, Rock Pond team, and that's just been like pretty much if you were an Italian at this event, you either played that team or you played Arubega Maridon. So it's just like these two here are just brought to you by Italians. Carter.
Yes.
What is an Eternatus?
So Eternatus is this Pokemon. It was introduced, I think, in I want to say Gen 8. And it's a really unique Pokemon, man. Poison Dragon's a really interesting typing. And back in the day, what you could do with it is annoy the hell out of your opponent. Nowadays, man, I don't know. Are they like meteor beaming people?
No, so I found it. So that's the other thing. There's only one Eternatus that day 2'd. And no, he lost his round 9. So I was like looking at it. So he went 1-2. I mean 1-1 in day 2. So he had to go 2-0. Came in 28th. So had really I think it was like 20 something people made cut. So also if you want to talk about the percentage, only 7 people brought Eternatus. So the fact that 1 out of 7 actually made it, pretty impressive. Only one. So I think so. Eternatus got the spot. Zama did. Only one Zama top cut. I mean top cut day 2'd. But that guy, not only did he day 2, but he top cut and came in 9th. So. But Zama didn't make the graphic, Eternatus did, because they only show 8 Pokemon and they take alphabetical order into account.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that how they determine it, is alphabetical order?
I'm like 99% sure, like, ties are broken by alphabetical order.
That's really funny.
Yeah. So if you thought that seeing an Eternatus would be weird, what is this? What?
So you know how I
Firepon,
said
go
on the last one that I'm not really surprised by anything here. And I can't say the same here.
You have you have 5 redirectors, you have 4 follow me mons, and it's not like we're counting Ogerpon 3 times like we have in the past. You have like 4 distinct like dex entries for follow me mons.
I mean, if you want to go one even farther, we have a Rage Powder bond there too. Like we have 5 different forms of redirection. Technically 4 different forms of fake out. 5. No, Indeedee female doesn't get fake out, right? It's just Indeedee male.
It's just male.
Okay.
Yeah, you're at 4. Yeah, so 5 forms of redirection, 4 forms of fake out in terms of just overall like priority. You have Aqua Jet from the Urshifu, Rillaboom's Grassy Glide, Thunderclap from Raging Bolt. I'm not counting Smeargle in this sense because you're never going to see Smeargle with like you're not going to see like extreme speed Smeargle or anything.
You say that. It's a sash breaker. I didn't say it was a good one.
I think if there's anything to take from this top 12, one of the things to take is that it goes with the usage stats from the restricteds. Calyrex Shadow really likes Clefairy, really likes Indeedee female, really likes Smeargle. To be quite honest, really likes having 2 of the 3 of those Pokemon, along with a form of Ogerpon sometimes. Like I know one of my friends from my building group, CJ, they are the #1 CSR diva in our group, and every single team building discussion with them ends up being, okay, so it's CSR plus Tailwind plus double redirection, got it. But like that's kind of the way to use this Pokemon.
Let me ask you this. There were 25 Smeargles in the regional this weekend in Stockholm. Mm-hmm. There are 5 moves registered between all 25 of them. Can you name all 5 of them?
Fake Out?
Fake Out is number 2.
Spore.
Spore is tied for number 2.
Wide Guard?
Wide Guard is number 5.
Follow Me
is number 1 on 100% of Smeargles.
Decorate.
Decorate is the 5th move.
I only knew that.
Got it in 5.
I knew the Decorate was the last one because I believe it was Mikael Kelsch who decided who was running it. I'm just going to pull this up because Smeargle did win the event. Mikael Kelsch, very good. It was Follow Me, Fake Out, Decorate, Spore.
Yeah, I mean you're typically, if you're next to like Cali Ice, you want Decorate. I mean,
yeah,
like that just makes sense.
And he had not only Cali Ice, but he also had Torkoal, Specs Torkoal at that. So the only thing that was getting me, I almost said Spiky Shield, because Spiky Shield usually, if you want to put like a non-wide guard protect option on the Smeargle, it goes Spiky Shield. But then I was like, oh wait, I literally saw Kelsch decorate his Torkoal this morning while I was making breakfast for Amanda and watching, like, I think it was like his top 6. It was a top 16 or top 8 match. Like, I saw the answer. Smeargle is really, really cool. It's like personally not on VGC. I actually don't think I've ever used it in VGC. Personally, one of my favorite Pokemon, Matt.
I remember when Angelo and I first met each other, one of the, I forget exactly what happened. I think it might have been after your car wreck.
Yeah.
Aaron messaged me. He's like, hey, I really want to get something for Angelo to like try to make his life a little bit better. I'm like, all right, I need some Pokemon ideas and I can like figure this out.
Yeah, I remember, and you messaged me like your favorite Pokemon, quick, and you were like, don't ask, and I just gave them to you, and you're like, cool.
And I remember we got you the promo Eevee, the Black Star promo Eevee card, and then We got you the first printing Smeargle card too, didn't we?
Yeah, you got, and then the Sitting Cutie is Smeargle, which I just showed on screen a lot. The Eevee, which is still on my desk. The Smeargle and the Eevee sit next to each other because they're friends. I don't have the promo cards on my desk. They're in another room. But yeah, no, I love this Pokemon.
He's just a goofy little guy.
Like, part of me it feels like I should just start figuring out how to use him, because he's just a fun little guy. And honestly, Clefairy's a fun little guy too. Like Clefairy's just such a cute Pokemon. For me, it's one of the cool things with VGC compared to other formats where it's like you're truly looking at the overall utility of a Pokemon. And because if you played singles, you would we were like, oh, why are you using Clefairy? Like, Clefable's one of the best Pokemon in singles. Mm-hmm. But it's no, you don't get you don't get Friend Guard. Helping Hand's really useful. You get the After You support, the Icy Wind support. There's so many things you can do. So Clefairy overall was 23rd in usage, including restricted. And so everyone has Follow Me and Protect, and most of them had Helping Hand. After You clearly was the fourth move at 59%. But along with After You, you have Sing, Life Dew, Encore, Heal Pulse, Icy Wind. There are so many ways to play this Pokemon, and it can do so many things for your team. It was also paired with every single Calyrex Shadow, so every CSR also had Clefairy. So that's probably why it had a great usage. So with CSR being our number one Pokemon, Clefairy, just due to it, for every CSR, there was a Clefairy. That definitely helped it. And again, the Calyrexes, both Calyrexes love having Indeedee. CSR to give it the Expanding Force mode if you want to go there. Protect it from Sucker Punch. Again, Redirection. Be a Mon that can turn off Trick Room if the opponent gets Trick Room up. And for Ice Rider, it still has, not only does it still have all of those things, the Redirection, it can set its own Trick Room for you, so the Calyrex can do do its own thing. But the fact that it stops Fake Out, that's super important. People will use pivot turns, threaten Fake Outs to stall out Trick Room. If you can't click Fake Out, then you're just able to keep on putting pressure on, and that's what these Calyrex Ice teams really want to do, especially once they're in Trick Room. So overall, I actually, for day 2 usage, this has probably been the most interesting usage we've had in months. So wait for Europe to try to throw off the Europe can't cook. No, Europe cooked this weekend. Full stop. Europe cooked this weekend. I am proud of the European players.
I was thinking, because I still grinding away at Blue Kaizo. I just started streaming again this past week, because my computer died.
Yeah,
I don't know if I've told this story on the podcast yet.
You have not.
I updated it, so I was having issues with my computer where if I turned it off, my power button wouldn't immediately work for whatever reason. The only way I could get it to work is to shut it off, unplug the power supply, plug it back in, and then the power button would work. So for probably 2 months, if not a little bit longer, unfortunately, I would just leave my computer on. Probably not the healthiest thing to do, but whatever. So a couple weeks back, I'm like, okay, it's been a very long time since I've shut my computer off. I need to let it cool off for a little bit. So I'm like, all right, cool. Shut off. Oh, there's an update available. We'll go ahead and update. I come in the next morning and turn it on, and I get the screen of, your update has failed. What would you like to do? Undo the update and try again. Undo it and revert back to the previous copy? That's unavailable. What would you like to do?
So actually, how did you fix it? Because you didn't tell us that. If you did tell us, I missed it. I don't remember.
Oh, Angelo, you're gonna love this. I had to reset my C drive. I had to uninstall and reinstall my C drive, including but not limited to my entire copy of Windows, and everything that was on my C drive was wiped.
So that's why I asked and streamed.
Because
like
yeah, there's just like incidental things that were on my C drive that I didn't realize were saved there. Like all my emulators were on there, which I didn't realize. Most of my ROMs, I'm pretty sure like 99% of my ROMs were saved to my D drive, so that's fine. Streamlabs got deleted. Like I had to reinstall Chrome. I had to like log back into like every website imaginable. Like I lost. I think now I'm pretty much caught back to like where I was. But after that, I had to just it was one of those things I'm just like, okay, what else am I missing at this point? And then it hit me. I'm like, oh, I haven't streamed. I need to reinstall Streamlabs so I can do that. And so I finally got it up and running. No big deal. Long story short, you were talking about like Clefairy versus like Clefable. Yeah. I'm like, man, those are like mons I haven't used in like Blue Kaizo in a long while. It's because they're like just not available.
No,
like you can get Clefairy in exactly Mount Moon. But for like
that's the only place.
Optimal like encounter routing, you get. I like to go for B1F as my encounter table, because it gives you like a really good shot at like getting Voltorb, which getting early Voltorb means that like it removes that as a dupe for like later tables. But it also has like Grimer and Muck, which are both very good dupes to get. And then like the big payoff is you have access to like a 10% Rhyhorn, 5% Geodude, 4% Onyx. So like, a like 19% chance to like roll a rock type, which is very, very good. And like,
why is Rhyhorn a higher chance than Golem? I mean Geodude.
Because
better?
It depends on the floor. On 1F, Geodude is at 10%, Rhyhorn's at 4%. Okay. And so like, and then like on 2F, Rhyhorn is actually the only rock type. So the real reason you roll B1F is like getting one of the exploders like between Voltorb, Grimer, Coughing, or getting a rock type with Rhyhorn, Geodude, Onyx. There's a 5% chance to get Clefairy there, which like you just don't really want to see because Clefairy kind of sucks.
So like yeah, it does in like especially Gen 1. I kind of want to replay Gen 1. We're going to get to the teams right after this, our little Gen 1 thing. So the Pokemon TV app died like last year, and they finally made a YouTube channel, and they finally finished. They put on every single episode of the Indigo League,
yes,
and the Orange Islands. And so like I mean I would skip like fillery ones, but like some of the fillers that I like and like the key ones. So I watched through all of that. And I'm like, do I play a Gen 1 game because I'm in the Gen 1 mood, or do I wait till they like start posting like the Johto Journeys episodes and I like decide to go play Crystal again on my 3DS? Who can say?
So the places you can get Clefable is after you get Surf, the west area in the Safari Zone has a 1% chance for Clefable, which like you're not ever rolling that table for your encounter. The Pokemon Mansion, which you're never rolling that table because you can guarantee Magmar, which is the best fire type in the game, and then Victory Road. So like you're just never going to use Clefable in this game.
Yeah.
Like the in Safari Zone, like if you don't have it, you can get a guaranteed Golem. So like you then have a guaranteed rock type at that point. Or you can get like a really good chance of getting Kangaskhan, which like high attack Kangaskhan is absolutely absurd. Or you can just like get like there's a 10% chance to get either the Nidos, and
those are just always good Pokemon.
Especially getting them as their fully evolved forms gives them Blizzard, Thunderbolt, Earthquake, Lovely Kiss. So like otherwise they don't learn Lovely Kiss. And to give them Thunderbolt and Blizzard requires giving them your TMs, which you don't want to do because you need them for like your E4 mons. So like if you get
no,
early
that tracks.
Nidoran or either of the Nidoran forms, you're just like, well, this is a waste of a Pokemon.
Yeah.
Or the other option is you can get like Porygon, which then, if you have Electrode, I think guarantees you Electabuzz and Power Plant, which is like another really, really good like Mon as well. Not a lot of Mons get buffed in Blue Kaizo. Electabuzz and Magmar are two of them that do. So like they get like increased special, increased speed, if I remember correctly. So like this makes them way better Mons.
Yeah.
They also give Magmar Solar Beam, which is a 1-turn move in this game.
Yeah, no, I remember that because like Sky Attack was a 1-turn. Because I remember that was like a big thing where like I need Sky Attack. Like Sky Attack's a 2-turn. Like no, they made
Sky Attack's really busted. It's a 1-turn move that is base 140, 1-turn move that has like a 10% chance to flinch.
Yep, it's literally disgusting. I mean,
it
you
is
can miss it though.
The downside, and for people who watched my E4 run know this, it has a 10% chance to miss.
Yep.
And let me tell you, it can and will cost you runs.
Yeah. We have seen that firsthand. So a person whose run was not costed at all this week, Michel Kelsch, MDB, a very short VGC career when you compare him to like Eric Rios, to Fetty Campo, Wolfe Glick, of course. A lot of like these other players we kind of like the Japanese players will like throw into like the GOAT conversation, or at least like the GOAT second to Wolf.
How do you say his name?
I think it's like it's like Mikael.
It
is
is Mikael. It's not Michael.
It's not Michael.
Okay.
I've never. Yeah. That's yes. This team here is this is a hard. It's kind of weird calling it hard Trick Room because as you see, like you have the Torkoal. The Urshifu is very, very slow. That they mentioned that on stream.
I mean, this is like hard Trick Room in this format.
But you also don't like. That's the thing. It's hard Trick Room. You don't need to play in Trick Room. Like Raging Bull. Like you're probably tech to where you definitely prefer it. But against a mid-speed team like the Raging Bolt and the Urshifu, they don't need to be in Trick Room to just ruin your day. Which is just like the crazy part with this team, or just maybe like this format in general. One of the things I really like with this is that Kelsch went with the Technician on Smeargle, and I've seen this in a few places where people would not run Moody on the Smeargle, specifically when you have Decorate. The issue is all of these Pokemon are teched out to hit specific speed stats. I believe that the Smeargle is teched out to where actually no, his is Sash, so it's actually pretty it's speedy, but like you'll have situations where like you want to make sure that you can like oh, I'll hit my Spore this next turn. Or it's like, oh, my Decorate is going to go in this order. And not be like, oh wait, my speed went up when I'm in Trick Room, or it went down when I'm out of Trick Room, and I can't control it. So, like, I actually know, like, we had a conversation, I believe, I can't remember who it was. It was one of my locals, like, was running Smeargle back in Regulation F. And, like, the whole idea of not running Moody was, I want to know what my speed is every turn.
Which, honestly, is a very, like, reasonable, expectation.
I think other really cool things with this team, just a few other techs. The first is no U-turn, but Iron Head on the Urshifu, along with Terra Grass. We're very used to seeing like Terra Ghost on banded Mons to make sure you avoid a fake out, which isn't as much of an issue when you have Indeedee on your team, but still, you see Terra Dark because banded Terra Dark Wicked Blow is disgusting. It's stronger than your restricted Pokemon's moves because Urshifu might as well be a second restricted. But like the Iron Head here is really punishing all of the Terra Fairy Pokemon that are in this format. If you go through, Terra Fairy is the third most popular Terra in this tournament, which is honestly a little lower than it's usually first or second. So having a move there to really punish that Terra is huge. Also, it's close combat Calyrex, which is something that I haven't really seen.
I've
all
seen
too
it
much.
popping up more and more regularly.
Yeah.
I am curious. I forget what they're running instead, so I'm just gonna go look at Cali Ice real quick.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
usually like high horsepower, but I mean there was 9 close combat horses at this event.
I think the big thing with the close combat is, of course, like being able to hit dark types is huge. There's a lot of dark types in this format. And one of the other things with this team, outside of like Heat Wave and Draco Meteor, which are honestly, those are moves that are just so good that you kind of can't run them. I mean, you kind of have to run them. Every other move on this team, they just all hit all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you're clicking Heat Wave with Torkoal, that means you aren't clicking Eruption because you took too much damage. So you're already on the back. Like, if you're clicking Heat Wave, you're already saying prayers. And Draco, especially on this Raging Bolt with the Protect and the safety goggles, you're able to switch this thing in and out. It's not the booster energy that we've also been seeing popping up. So if you miss your Draco, is what it is. If you hit your Draco, well, Raging Bolt is the third Pokemon on this team that might as well be a restricted. A lot of things can't live the Raging Bolt Draco Meteor. Especially when you're looking at like boosted by Smeargle's Decorate or by a Helping Hand from Indeedee. I'll take that 10% roll.
I just got done playing through Emerald Imperium, and in that game you have access to I want to say all Pokemon up through Gen 9 are like catchable in some capacity. Like restricteds I think are obviously like way more random, but one of my late game encounters was a Raging Bolt, and it was honestly just ridiculous because I mean it was just Grimmsnarl, set screens, bring in Raging Bolt, click Calm Mind until I can't anymore, and then thunderclap them.
Congratulations, you played Regulation FVGC.
Like, all right, and I'm at +4. That's probably good enough.
Yeah. It's like because that's the other thing, and Jay's brought up like a few times on the pod. Raging Bolt special attack is only like 10 points off Miraidon's. I'm not kidding when I say this Pokemon is quite legitimately a restricted in terms of the stats. It's the way the stats are spread out, the typing, the move set. Like Thunderclap is a disgustingly powerful move.
Yeah,
and that is the other thing that this team offers in terms of fast modes. Choice Band, Darkfu, Sucker Punch, and Terra Electric Thunderclap from Raging Bolt are probably two of the best of like priority moves in the entire game.
mm-hmm.
Like I think in the only ones that are like that much better, you're talking it's at the level of Terra Normal, like E-Speed from D-Knight, which and like yeah, this is just a ton of damage, a ton of priority. Trick Room's the best speed control in the game, and a man who actually wait, he came in fourth. No, he already had his World's Invite. So I was going to say didn't have his World's Invite, finally got it. He did have his World's Invite, which is really fun. Yeah, because top four from the previous Worlds auto invites.
Yes.
So he already had his World's Invite, which means, well, he sniped an invite from Europe.
It's really unfortunate that they don't pass him on, but
so they do, or at least they didn't go like 2 years ago, because there was a situation.
So why don't
Anna
we
Hoffman
now?
was telling me this. I don't know. VGC they never did. I think it was like Go at the start, and maybe they still doing Go. I'm not sure. My Go player, Anna Hoffman, she has not been playing because she has life things, and so her and her partner are just who is a TCG player. Like Anna will hop in a TCG local. Like I'll go to my local card shop in Pawtucket, and she'll just be there like winning a cup, and I'm like, why are you so... and like I know she's entered VGC. She's like, I think she's gone like X3 at a regional once. Because
Angela,
like she
that's better
already
than
had a
me.
go invite. Yeah, no, like she's like just good at
Yeah.
everything with Pokemon. It's like nuts. Another person who's very good at Pokemon, along with Kelsch and Anna Hoffman, is Eric Rios, and this continues the trend of Lunala. Lunala almost got back-to-back regional wins. Maybe it is not a Mickey Mouse Pokemon, or maybe Stockholm's a little Mickey Mouse. I'd like to think that like Lunala, like this is a situation where a good player finally figured out the proper way to play Lunala, which is play it like Terapagos. But it's better because it just has a better typing for the format, and you can run two offensive moves instead of one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The one really, like, this is just the Italian Terapagos team, which we're going to be showing up in a couple seconds, except you have a different leftovers setup restricted in Lunala. And the other big thing is Tornadus over here. Apparently, the ability shield is specifically for Eric Rios. Apparently, kept on losing to Wheezing teams and put on, it was like specifically like they said, like it was specifically like a Wheezing team with Koraidon, and there was like another Wheezing team that he just kept on losing to. So he put on ability shield Tornadus so he can tailwind to make sure Lunala would move first, or rain dance to turn the sun off and get rid of everyone's boosts. Like, it was literally not it was for a local player more than anything else, and it just stuck, and it clearly worked. He came in second
Hey,
place.
if it ain't stupid, like if it ain't broke, it ain't stupid, you know?
Exactly. And it's a situation where we saw in this tournament there has been more Wheezing than usual. Galarian Wheezing was 31st in usage. 23 players brought Galarian Wheezing, which, to put it in perspective, that's about the same amount of players that brought Tatsugiri Dondozo, which was a decent bit. Like, there were almost as many Galarian Wheezing as there were Kyogre and Spearow and Koraidon. So, like, this, you're going to see this Pokemon. And for Eric to say, yeah, this is an issue I have, this is the answer to it. We always say this here, especially like in these restricted formats. The only bad answer, like thing, is if it doesn't work. Even if it just looks completely like out of the ordinary or unoptimal, if it's doing the exact thing you need for your team and your other 5 Mons can play their parts, it's the right decision. And for this team, apparently Ability Shield, at least for this moment, is the right decision. Moving on to Matteo Bellini, 3rd place. This is just the classic, like, now I'd call it the Italian Terapagos, even though I don't think it's the Italians that created it. We've talked about this before.
Mm-hmm.
It keeps on going.
Like, this was in Carter's Corner not too long ago, and now it's just like a good team.
Yeah, no, I think the only like real changes, we're seeing more Rocky Helmet Incineroar, and Heatran is now running a real item and 4 real moves. One of the issues with this team that we did see in stream, I don't believe it was Matteo, it was another Italian. They were actually up against a Shadow Rider player with Smeargle, and on paper, Terapagos should win that because that you can't they can't click their funny button, but you can click yours. The issue specifically with the substitute version of the Terapagos teams is that when you get into a situation where Terapagos is your only Pokemon left, like I believe it was game 1, the Terapagos was full health, and it's like wide guard Smeargle, and they just looked down and was like, oh well, I can't win. I can't do anything. And they just forfeited. And then the next game, pretty much the same sort of thing happened. Well, not the exact same thing. They had to like overcompensate to get rid of the Smeargle, and then it just turned into a situation where, well, I can't do anything. There's a lot of skill to play this team, and for Matteo to come in 3rd place, like that shows the high level of skill that they had this weekend. This is not for the faint of heart to pick up. But if you are a balanced player, you really like pivoting, you like setting up, this is probably the team for you for the rest of the month of Regulation G.
This team is, man, like if you just look at the Mons, it looks really wild, and I'm really excited to see that like such a unique team is able to continuously put up results.
Oh yeah, we did not, and I think that's like the really nice thing so far. Like the three teams that we've gone over so far, we did not see these teams. Maybe we saw like versions of that
Mm-hmm.
Calyrex team, but like we did not see Cornerstone like Screamtail balance
No.
with setup in the previous format. And I think that is like the nice part with Regulation G, and to an extent, something in favor of formats going longer than just 3-4 months is that even when we think we solved a format, things can evolve. It would be nicer if they just went full on like 8 months, and it wasn't like you took a 4-month break and now you're going back to it. But I mean, who can say? It's not like I'm a decision maker or anything.
You don't get to make that call.
No.
Can we talk about Jamie Boyd now?
Jamie Boyd, what the fuck is that Heatran? Jesus Christ.
What is this team? Like,
so they were talking about Jamie.
There is no one in this game I love more watching team build than Jamie Boyd.
I have a very big love-hate with Jamie Boyd. I do think when he hits his teams, a great example, Regulation E, which is the Teal Mask DLC, when he was building those Roaring Moon, Ogerpon like teams, those were some really, really cool, fun, interesting teams. And then like you have some of this stuff like his world, like the Basculegion, Assault Vest, Terra Electric, like Shenpao stuff, and you're like, okay, you're flying a little too close to the sun, Jamie.
What are you doing there, buddy?
And then you have moments like not this team, but like he's had like a few. Like he had an awful EUIC, and the crazy thing is, it was with this 6, and he just made a few tweaks, and it was like he just figured it out. We just talked about how the Italians are running Heatran with a real item and 4 real moves. Well, like, Jamie's doing it with a fake item and 2.5 moves. As we've discussed previously, Zoom Lens only works if you move last.
So just simply move last, Angelo. I don't understand why you're so... I don't understand why you hate this item so much. It's fine.
It's so bad. Run wide lens. Just run wide lens. It's like a little worse in the percentage boost, but it's always active. Like, Zoom Lens isn't always active. Like, what is this?
It looks like a fun time.
Honestly, the rest of the team's kind of fine. To be quite honest, in certain extents, this is kind of where we thought Koraidon Sun was going to go. Just insane hyper offense. This is like, if all you can do is, if all you want to do is just click fun buttons, this is the team. Hydro Seed, we talked about helping hand boosting Raging Bolts, Draco Meteor. You want to click Draco Meteor with a Specs Walking Wake in the sun? That's the real nuke. Yeah. With like Shiyu next to you?
Good luck. Yeah.
Yeah. Done. You do have the Flutterfish lead with the Scarf Shiyu and the Fluttermane. Fluttermane here being Fairy Feather, because apparently we're playing Regulation D, and not using the booster energy, which, while we do have the Koraidon to set the sun, sometimes you want to lead with, the Fluttermane and have that overall speed control. The Fairy Feather is useful though, because we have the Terra Fairy, we have both Dazzling Gleam and Moonblast, and if you do need a bit of speed control, which is actually, this is the only speed control on the team, you have Icy Wind. Koraidon is about the same as what we saw Wolfe Glick run. It has Breaking Swipe over what Wolf ran, which was the Flame Charge to get the speed boost. The Life Orb means that in the Sun, Koraidon, even after an Intimidate, I believe is still able to OHKO most Incineroar. And that was Wolf's idea behind it. Is like, this is just like a consistently very good damage move, even through Intimidate. And Brute Bonnet is a Pokemon.
Brute Bonnet exists.
Was it you or Jay?
I played it.
It was you? Okay, because I remember like Shanish and I were talking recently about like all the team building we were doing, and we were like, who the hell was trying? We were trying to figure out like who the fuck was trying to build like Brute Bonnet for Knoxville.
Yeah, I played it.
Yeah. On this team, like
it wasn't good. It was really bad.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like, I think going back, like, again, now it would be over 2 years ago when I think it was like Carl, Manny, and I did a Paradoxmon tier list, and we're all like, Brute Bonnet's probably good, and then everyone, and it wasn't just us, like a lot of people are saying, this Pokemon's probably really good. It's going to rival Amoonguss.
Yeah, that's why I was really excited about it, because it's like aggressive Amoonguss, and then like you play with it once and you go, this thing kind of ass.
I know, like Dr. Aaron Trailer brought it to EUIC, and I believe day 2'd with it, and was still like, this ain't it.
Aaron Trailer is...
I love Aaron. I miss Aaron. Aaron, I know you aren't watching this, but if you do, move back to Rhode Island. We miss you.
You should specifically send him this episode to tell him to watch it.
I will. I'll message him when it uploads.
I mean, I'll admit it. We always need more people to watch, so, and, if you're as good of friends with him as you say, he should already be listening, Angelo. So, I mean, I think it says a lot that you need to question your relationship with him if he's not. He has
an adult job, like he's working for Microsoft. He's a busy man.
Too busy to put in a podcast on this drive to work?
I don't think he drives to work. I think he walks.
That's even worse!
I'll throw us a bone. Moving from the sun to the rain. This is
a wild team too.
Oh, so it's not super wild.
It's not, but like it's wild enough that makes me go, hold on. We're chefing it up right now. We're cooking.
Like, so we've seen the drum beating and, like, the drum beating Rillaboom. We've seen the Kyogre, like, this set of Kyogre. This 6 has been very popular, I believe, with... Give me a second. Oliver Escalin, who was also at this event and went 5-3. Losses, win, and end. But with, I believe, this exact team... no, he like, this 6, but different Terras... but like the very fast drum beating Rillaboom, the setup Kyogre, like that's the big thing. Really, the main difference we're seeing here, and it's just like it makes sense once you look at it or think of it, but at the start you're like, what the hell is this? The Terra Poison and Incineroar, and that's not a Terra that we have really seen on this Pokemon.
Yeah, it's one of those mons that like I have seen it in the past, right? Like, that is something that, like, I was kind of excited about, is having Urshifu be, like, a fairy-type counter seems really cool on paper, until you realize that, like, it just doesn't work. Because that was something I had tried in, Gen 8, was, Poison Jab Urshifu. And, unfortunately, it's just not good enough. But, it was, like, a cool idea. So I think having, like... I'm sorry, Ensign. We're talking about Terra Poison Ensign. I like Terra Poison Urshifu.
No, and that's something like... Yeah, like, that was... Like, we've talked about that, especially, like, the Dark Fu with the band running Poison Jab. No, Ensign being Terra Poison, and that's something that we really haven't seen.
That one is...
So, there were 4 this weekend. And I think the idea of it is simply, I'm dead to, like, even if I go Terra Ghost, the amount of multipliers that Landorus has is going to screw me over.
Mm-hmm.
Might as well, like, stop Urshifu from clicking close combat. and that at least that's what I saw with it. I buy it.
Yeah,
It does.
yeah.
Like, I think this would definitely work. We don't know the speed tiers of anything because we don't have the stats. If Adrian had a relatively speedy Incin where he was confident that at least in the Incin mirror his fake out was moving before their fake out, going with another defense, like a truly defensive Terra that wasn't just going ghost and being punished by a lot of the dark moves in the format, or other ghost type attacks, like this way you still you're at least neutral into Moongeist Beam and Astral Barrage, so that's pretty useful there. Yeah, I think overall it's just a very interesting way to still get the fighting resist / immunity that Terra Ghost gives you, while also giving you some other benefits to common mons.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Once you look at it some, especially with your safety goggles, so you're still spore immune. Yeah, this is something I think I would need to test to see how I really liked it versus Terra Ghost.
I think maybe in future formats we might see it more. Incin, looking at it right now, 70%, almost 71% of Incineroars this weekend were Terra Ghost. Second place was Terra Water at 18. Third was Terra Grass at 8. 6 for Bug and 4 for Poison. And in previous formats, even going back to Reg F, we would see more different Terras for Incin. It's pretty much been nothing but Terra Ghost recently. So I know pre-pod there was I was saying so some of the things people have been saying for what the next format could be if it's not GS Cup, I've heard people think oh, could it be Regulation B plus, so pretty much Reg H plus the Paradox Mons, could it be C plus or something like that? And I think if we go back to a format like that, we might start seeing more different, I wouldn't say unique Terras, but non-Terra Ghost options on Incin, even with the goggles version. Going to our top CSR team, here's another non-Terra Ghost Incin with Terra Water, and also running Flare Blitz, which at least in Regulation G, these restricted formats, that is the 5th move. We usually see Will-O-Wisp in that spot. This is the first of two of Calyrex teams that made top 8, and this is kind of what I was saying beforehand. This is a nasty plot Life Orb Calyrex. You have your balanced trio in Amoonguss, Incin, and Urshifu, but you also have Tailwind in the Tornadus. You also have Shenpao to really you can go this Torn, Xian, Rain mode with Calyrex as your cleaner in the end, and you're getting Rain boosted, Swords of Ruin boosted, Surging Strikes, Terra Water, Mystic Water, and literally every single multiple you can get, and that's your restricted mon. It's not the Calyrex, it's the Urshifu. It's the Pokemon that says, I don't believe in protection.
Nope. I'm not. Nope. Just letting that one go. Not touching it. We're moving on, Angelo.
This could be a cold open. Great team, Maddie. Really like it. We're going to take a break from the Kalar Shadow Rider and move to Fetticampo because something Italian and Rhydon.
I was really hoping that I was in my own world over here looking stuff up, and I was really hoping I misheard what you said. And then I realized, no, I'm not zoned out that much. I did hear you right. Go home.
I am home. This is great. I love this.
Where's Jay when I need him?
Jay would have beat me to that punch.
You're probably not wrong.
I'm correct. we're gonna send this to him to like this exact timestamp tomorrow, and we're gonna ask him his opinion. And he's either going to be really proud of me or
completely
insanely
judge
proud
you,
of
and
me.
there's no in between.
No, he's going to be proud regardless. Moving on to the again Fetty comp with the Arabega team. We've seen this team like quite a lot. It won Worlds, and I feel like this is like the only team like that's truly set from the World Championships that we're still seeing, and the 6 Pokemon are the same. The only thing that's been going on are just some slight moveset tweaks, and everything else is pretty set. The main tweak to talk about this weekend is the Ogerpon Heartflame. As you can see, it's running Focus Energy instead of the Grass Coverage and Woodhammer. This is something that the Japanese players have been doing a lot recently, is running Follow Me, like only Ivy Cudgel as your offensive move, and setting up with Focus Energy. The idea specifically for Firepon is pretty much every team has a grass type, if not multiple grass types or Terra Grass bonds. Just going through it, we have so first place did not have a grass type, but Eric Rio, second place had 2 grass types. Mateo had 2 grass types. Jamie had a grass type. Adrian has 2 grass types. Maddie is a grass type. Going into 8th place, Lewis had a grass type. So, like, all of these, like, you're very rarely going to click Woodhammer. But what if you can just always crit your Ivy Cudgel? Pretty good.
You know, when you put it like that,
like, it turns into a situation where if you can guarantee crit it, especially when you throw in the Terra boost of Terra Fire, the mass boost from the Heartflame mask, and also the +1 you get from being Terra Fire, yeah, you're in a good spot. Like, Ogerpon, the way it plays is kind of like mini or at least like minization from like Gen 8 Zation. And what if that Gen 8 Zation also could click Focus Energy and then crit every single time? It's a great way to punish passive play on your opponent's side of the field if you know like they're going for a double protect or something to get around the Iron Hands fake out to try to stall out a turn of Trick Room or a turn of Tailwind. You can just click Focus Energy and punish them because, well, the theme of the episode, Ogerpon is now your restricted Pokemon. It'll actually come close to out-damaging the Miraidon.
Just bonk them.
Yeah, just keep on bonking them. And, like, when Fetty's games, like, we saw that, and the second that, I believe we saw him play Eric Rios in top 8. Yeah, he played in Eric in top 8. And, like, whenever he did get the Focus Energy off, Eric immediately turned his attention towards that Ogerpon.
You have to, right? Otherwise, it will just solo you.
Yeah, the main thing that Eric was able to do is, so at least the current iteration of the Arabega team, your Urshifu, like your Iron Hands is usually Brave, Min Speed. Your Ogerpon usually is slower than a lot of other Pokemon. It's not a full invest. Even your Urshifu is relatively slow comparatively, and of course you're running a tail room team, so you can have these weird speed tiers and get away with it. But if you don't have the speed control up, or if they match your speed control, like for Eric, for example, he would either match the speed control with the Tailwind, or he would just pretty much waste a turn or two of like the Tailwind that Fetty would have, and then get his Cornerstone Ogerpon in that he knew was just faster, and the Ivy Cudgel off of a Rock Pond would OHKO the Ogerpon Heartflame, which can't like KO anything in return, or at least can't KO the Ogerpon in return because of the sturdy ability. So like that.
I also think that like this Focus Energy set is really interesting on specifically Heartflame because you have Mold Breaker. So there's nothing in the game that is immune to your Ivy Cudgels either.
Yeah.
Because like, you know, if you weren't Mold Breaker for some reason, like then you get bodied by like Heatran or like any Flash Firemon. And like
so Heatran.
Yeah, exactly. Like exactly Heatran. But like because you're exactly Mold Breaker, you're just like, I don't care, I'm gonna punch you. Like there's few things that are gonna want to switch in and take a crit like Ivy Cudgel.
Very, and even like one of the things I'm just gonna pull out. Like I'm just using the Tangs as an example. So I'm just gonna throw open a Dondozo, so giving that a commander boost, and then critting the Ivy Cudgel. Okay, that's doing less than I thought, but because it's super low. But yeah, like in general, like you're doing a lot of damage.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the Dondozo was a bad example, but like even especially if you're critting the Ivy Cudgel, even resisted hits do a lot.
Yeah.
Moving to the last team of the top 8, Lewis Markle. This is our second Calyrex, and he went a little mixed everything around. I think this is the Calyrex team that's like a very like best of everything. So it's a nasty plot Calyrex, but it has a berry. It's not the life orb.
It's bad into opposing Calyrexes.
It's not. Yeah, it's not. It doesn't have the item against opposing Calyrex. You have the Clefairy for the redirection, but then again, you have these more hyper offensive modes, namely the Flutterfish mode with the booster speed Flutter next to this time the Covert Cloak Chi-Yu. Chi-Yu Snarl this Chi-Yu Snarl will help you in the mirror match. Also, Overheat and Heat Wave can punish Calyrex Ice or at least force those Terras. Also, the taunt on the Covert Cloak Chi-Yu is there to stop Trick Room, to stop Spores. Like, that's like your Trick Room answer there. The Clefairy is right there with it. And then you have double Fake Out with both Mienshao and the Rillaboom. Mienshao is also a Pokemon that's seen a lot with the Calyrex. Calyrex just likes Wide Guard because it is its own like best counter. So having a Wide Guard Mon on your side means that the opposing Calyrex can't click their best move. Feint also punishes passive play. You can't protect in front of it because they'll break the protect and then break you. I think the only thing with this, the Terra fighting is a little weird on Mienshao. But you're a Sash Bond, so I don't know how much you get from a defensive Terra.
Yeah,
So
I don't think it
makes sense.
really matters. So like, if you're gonna do it, you might as well, like be able to have like the most damage possible.
Yeah.
Like I don't think you're ever really clicking the Terra button on this thing, but in the event you do, like
you're getting a lot out of it with the close like there's one of two things. There's a there's a specific calc where like you need to be Terra-fighting Mienshao, and it's like something that in this specific scenario, if you're Terra-fighting the Mienshao close combat, you win. Or Lewis ran out of Terra Shards and said, "Screw it,
it'll be good enough.
You're fine. It's 3 a.m. I gotta get this going." One of two things happened. But yeah, like I think between this team and Maddie Morgan's team, these are two different ways to see Calyrex Shadow, a Pokemon that has really been struggling a lot of this second go around of Regulation G towards like Worlds and everything. Like CSR was on the up and up. I mean, Wolfe took it to Worlds and went pretty far with it, top cut with it. And it was like the best Pokemon, and we were all like, okay, yeah, this was S tier. We were all just dumb. And then it fell off again. And now I feel like it's starting to rise up a little. And it's like, okay, maybe we were lulled into that false sense of security, and CSR potentially wins Atlanta. Okay, and now we've come to our favorite part of regional coverage, Carter's Corner.
I sent a list.
Even though... Oh, I don't even have Discord open.
Well, that's on you for not paying attention.
I don't like having the beeps in the background.
So mute it. You're making excuses, Angelo.
Okay, first one, Robert Parenti, 15th place.
I just wanted to talk about this because like this is like a high ranking Venusaur team, which is not something we see a whole lot of. Plus I really like the idea of like Indeedee plus Iron Crown plus Chi-Yu plus Venusaur seems absolutely insane. Like, yeah, I don't know. I think this is just like a really well built team that I know this isn't the first time I've talked about Venusaur, but it's just one of those mons that I think is really unique, and I think has a like potential to do something cool.
Yeah, one of the things to note specifically with this team, so this was built by Justin Knox, or at least like the basis of it was built by Justin Knox early in the format. I know he ran it. Zach Weed ran it. Zach did better than Justin. I believe Justin was actually using this team. He said it was its last hurrah in the global challenge this weekend.
Oh yeah,
It's
that's
a very
this weekend too.
yeah. I was supposed to play, and then I was literally never home this entire weekend.
I
Which
followed
happens.
Moxie Boosted's he was like live tweeting it. He's like, "This is miserable. I hate this. Why do we have to do this?"
Yeah, the GCs, it really sucks because like at least when we would play, especially when we started in Gen 8, first of all, COVID happened. It was the only way we were
Yeah,
actually able to
correct.
like play
Yes.
games. But also it's like back then you had like everything was closed team sheet, so at least like being good in best of one meant that you could do well in game one of a best of three,
Mm-hmm.
which was a very important skill to have. And now it's like it's literally playing a completely different game. It's at the point where outside, but like yeah, it's doing well in these tournaments are important. One of my locals, like he hasn't really like gone to many. I think he's only gone to like 2 or 3 regionals, and like he's like day 2 at most of the regionals he's been to. But like I don't think he's like cut any of them. But he's like in position for worlds because I believe he's top 32 at every single GC he's played in, because he's just like disgustingly good at best of one closed team sheet. And it's like, so yeah, like you can get your worlds invite by like if you can max your locals points and just do insanely well in the GCs, like you can get your worlds invite without going to a regional or like going to only like a handful. And good on you for doing that. Not me.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Then
I'm good.
yeah, the next team we talk about, 16th place. This is Christopher Goose. Ghost. What do you think that is?
I think this is
2 O's and 2 S's. 3 S's if you throw in the
Gus.
Goose.
Gus.
Goose.
I don't.
Also, I say Christopher. It's Christoph. This 6 here, it's a fun, very fun 6. But again, this is something we have recently seen. This is Joe UX9's. This is the team he brought to UIC. He worked on it for Worlds. I really, 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 really love like Volcarona setup next to like the hands Urshifu Miraidon screens. Like it's really, really cool.
I really like Volcarona. I think Volcarona plus screens, Volcarona plus fake out. There's your Terra Poison Urshifu I was talking about earlier.
Yep, we
With
knew it was somewhere.
With Swords Dance as well.
Yeah, and that was something that was, I believe, new that Joe went and threw on for EUIC. I really like Screens Miraidon. I'm going to a cup this weekend. It's probably what I'm going to bring. It's not going to be this exact 6. There's a few different variants of like Miraidon screens. But overall, this is just really cool.
Mm-hmm.
I do like seeing the Ditto. Ditto's such a fun Pokemon. And I've said this before, I really, really like that we've moved off of just playing Scarf on Ditto and allowed it to use other items, play other moves, and just let it be a better chess piece instead of like trying to have it solely copy your opponent's restricted.
Yeah, this thing's. I don't know. This team just like looking at it. There's just a lot of unique things going on with like Ditto, Volcarona, Grimmsnarl. Like I just want to talk about this. This seems really cool.
Yeah, very fun team.
Mm-hmm.
And also very, very good team.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is a team that did well, and we kind of already alluded to it. Sander Tiggleman, this is our top Eternatus player.
This team is insane. This team is so wild.
I like a lot of these Pokemon. Like, so there is a world where Araquanid was just put in base, like Scarlet and Violet VGC, and I just played like Araquanid Fergraph for the first few months and actually have a team go into NAIC and do better than 4 or 5. But
Well, you didn't, so
that didn't happen. Also, so like talk about like forms of speed control. You have the icy wind from the booster speed flutter, which makes a lot of sense. You want to make sure that the Eternatus is in play. Sticky web Araquanid is a vibe.
Are we playing singles right now? Like,
we're playing singles. We have an Urshifu that's banned. We have a Fluttermane that's banned. We have an Ogerpon that's probably banned. An Eternatus that definitely.
I actually don't know the answer to that. I think Ogerpon might. I bet it's probably banned.
Well, let's you look at No, that's overused for Sword and Shield. Wellspring is no, they're all legal. They're no, actually, Heartflame is not.
Well, not surprised.
Yeah, because they actually God forbid you do more than 12 damage. God forbid you like advance a board state by like bonking something and not clicking toxic or
Dude,
or like
that's not at all what singles is anymore.
It's not. I'm being pedantic. But yeah,
you should go play singles.
I probably will not enjoy it.
Angelo, it's a vibe. Go honestly, you need to go play Natdex doubles. You would love that format.
That's legitimately what I do need to play.
That format is awesome.
Outside of playing more VGC, yes. But yeah, this is an interesting team. We keep on seeing the Eternatus next to Tink, and the more I think of it, it does make sense. It's a steel type that can click things, specifically like with your Spexmon, be able to click Faint into an obvious Protect, plus Sludge, like the Terra Poison Sludge Wave. That's probably the main mode that Sander wants to be in. And if he's not doing that, like also be able to click Gigaton Hammer, plus the Terra Poison Sludge Wave. Like, that's what I think this team wants to do. Good on Sander for making it this far. Like this is not. If you showed me this team and you said I'm taking this to a regional, I would have said
100%.
Have fun, buddy.
Like, what are you doing?
Why
are you donating your funds?
Yeah, and in 28th place, only a game off of Top Cut. Really, really great run by Sander. Our next team is 44th place. This is just a more standard Kyogre. I know you brought it up because of the Serena.
My queen.
Yeah. This is like, I've seen this a lot, or at least like the Serena plus Tailwind Kyogre. Chase Mateo, one of my locals, played this a lot. This team, it like the Kyogre is like the standard, what you would think Kyogre would be. The 3 attacks with the Protect. Serena is just really, really great. It helps into the Dragon types. It helps into the Grass types. The Terra Ice Triple Axle with Wide Lens, a real item, just does so much. And as long as like you're getting those hits, like the Triple Axle boosted by the Terra is an absolute menace and can punish a lot of like the Grass types and the Dragon types in this format.
I really like this. This looks just really unique and really fun.
Yeah, no, I think that's the best way to put it. This is just like a really, really cool team. It is a older, yet still proven concept. And great job, Day 2 and Michael. Moving on to 45th place, just behind Michael, is Ethan. What? Okay, folks, we're going to talk this through. We know that Comfy plus Terapagos with the setup and the Covert Cloak is good. We're testing like early reg, like pre-tournament reg G. Comfy plus Terapagos was commonplace.
Every time I look at this team, I find something new that I just have to laugh at.
We're talking through it. The flamethrower on it makes sense. The Comfy is relatively standard. This is a Rocky Helmet Ogerpon with Taunt, Follow Me, Spiky Shield, Ivy Cudgel. This is Ogerpon Teal Mask with Defiant. This is not usually how we see this Pokemon being played. We're used to seeing it with like a Sash or a Life Orb or not a Rocky Helmet. used with superpower as a way to punish Incineroar on switching, because they get the Intimidate up, which procs your Defiant, which means superpower will one-shot it. I can see the idea here being to punish Urshifu by having it go into a grass type that
Angelo
has a Rocky Helmet.
Ogerpon's not your instant answer, it's Iron Boulder.
So Iron Boulder. Oh no, so well that's the thing. Like, this is your Urshifu answer. Iron Boulder. This is a Pokemon.
I want this thing to be good.
I like that's the thing. It's not though, and it sucks because it's like the Violet Paradoxmons, like the DLC Paradoxmons got completely screwed because like
the big problem with the future Paradoxmons is electric terrain just sucks when you don't have a good setter. When you don't have exactly Tapu Koko, it doesn't mean anything. And on top of that, like the mons that you want to play with it in electric terrain, just like it's just not a vibe. Like it
doesn't fit.
Correct. Whereas the past Paradox mons, even if you don't have Sun, like it's just fine, right? Whereas like a lot of these future mons, if you give them booster, it doesn't really do what you want it to do.
Yeah, I think like just looking at its stats, like the base 120 attack stat is on it. Like it's
insane. Like that's great. That's a usable stat.
But like the thing is, it's like Iron Boulder, not Iron Boulder. Like Raging Bolt is like base 125 offense, and I mean like you're fast here. Like the base 124 speed's good. Your bulk is like for a legendary Pokemon, 90, 80, 108 is fine for like this level of Pokemon. Mm-hmm. But again, it's like compare it to like Raging Bolt stats, compare it to Gouging Fire. Like those Pokemon are perfectly tweaked, while this is just like an average, like
it's
as weird as it to say, an average-ishly powerful Pokemon.
And like the fact that it just essentially doesn't have an ability means that like it's just never gonna be
that's the thing.
Viable.
Like if this had if this had justified,
even though this had justified, or if this had photosynthesis, like
yeah. And I think the other thing
I honestly think design-wise, what they should have done is had all the Paradox Mons have the same ability. It makes sense, like, version-wise, why they don't. But I wish they would have given them all the same ability, where it's all procced in Sun or Electric terrain. And, again, thematically, it makes sense why it doesn't work that way.
But in practicality,
it would have made
a lot of these
future Mons so much better. Like, because if you look at the list of, like, future Mons, bundles about
Iron Moth wants to be in Sun.
Yes.
Like Boulder would love being in Sun. Like these are mons that would love. And I think the other issue
make
with Iron Boulder,
not electric terrain. Like, or if you're gonna give me electric terrain, give me a mon that's like viable outside of the restricted to be able to use it.
Yeah, I think one of the other things that really hurts Iron Boulder is its typing. Like Rock Psychic is just dog shit. It's not good. And those are all the things on why it wasn't good. Mighty Cleave, though, is an insanely powerful attack. It is a base 100% accurate rock-type move. Those don't exist. And Mighty Cleave specifically ignores Protect. So while you aren't a full-blown Urshifu, you have an attack that does do the Urshifu thing. I'm just making sure that I have this base power correct.
It's 100.
It is, yeah. No, it's 95-100.
Oh, this thing sucks.
Close enough, but still, it's like that. That is the idea there. Huge power Azumarill is really great. The AV is not like I like Azumarill. I brought Azumarill to NAIC 2 years ago. Like this is a fun mon.
I really like
Urshifu exists. Urshifu exists. Play that. And Incineroar is an Incineroar.
This day, dude.
This day 2, yeah.
This one's 6-4. Like, I want that to be known. This is a day 2 team. So next time someone tells you you have to play the most optimized team to make to be a top player, show them this and be like, this day 2-day regional, like.
It has all the. So here's the thing: it has all the proper components and
It
ideas
has
of team building.
Yes, and like it's pick a restricted, slap on Ensign, slap on Ogerpon, and add in a like physical like powerhouse of a water type, support Mon, like, and then like your flex spot.
Yep.
The problem is like they missed the assignment and like picked the wrong Ogerpon, picked the wrong water type. Like your support Mon is really like out there. It just
yeah, like if this was Rock Pond and this was an Urshifu and the boulder was anything else, oh yeah, makes so much sense.
But like the fact that it's not means that like
is the fun.
It's the fun part.
Yeah. So that is the thing that is like real. That is like nice with this team. Is that, I mean, as much as I was like, what the hell's going on? It is fun. And in the bottom line is that we are doing this for fun. I think Ethan might have had more fun than anyone besides Michel Kelsch, because he won. But outside of that, like, yeah, he probably had an absolute blast and just went in with like his favorite like little like guys, like, and just had vibes and day 2, which is honestly really great. Moving on to our second to last team. This isn't one that you sent me, but is one we know. So Dan Hughes is a member of our server.
Oh, I completely missed Dan's. I'm glad you pulled it up.
Yeah. So Dan finished in 99th, was an Iron Head flinch away from day 2ing in his winning. This is just a classic look at the team. The 6 is very similar to the Tang team but this time going with an Ogerpon Cornerstone instead of the Heart Flame, and also adding a rain mode with Pelipper. This is a no protect Pelipper with wide guard instead of having to protect there. Again, Tailwind Roaring Moon. This is another example of the close combat Calyrex Ice as well. Overall, this is a really, really powerful team. There's a lot of insanely strong Pokemon on here, and it lets you have a lot of different modes. The Peli Lando Ursh gives you a full-blown rain mode, which is just an added layer of things you can do into your team.
Additionally, like rain also removes your fire weakness on Cali. That's probably not like super relevant, but like it is a thing that exists. Like it's another minor synergy that like can add up.
Yeah, no, you can absolutely bring like Peli, Lando, Ursh, Cali, play in the rain, and continue with the theme of this episode. Really, when you're in the rain, like the Sheer Force Life Orb, Sandsear, Storm Landorus that
slaps.
Never misses, and the Mystic Water Surging Strix Urshifu
slaps.
Those are might as well be restricteds. And like that's been the big thing with a lot of the teams that have been really successful. It's a single restricted format, but it's figuring out what other broken Pokemon I can turn into a quasi-restricted. Dan figured out that there were 3 Pokemon that he can do that with the help of this little derpy bird here. And almost made day 2. Dan, we're rooting for you. You're going to get that day 2 in your next event. Hopefully you're at one of the special events. And finally, we are on Benjamin Van Hokel's team. This team was a 5-3.
This is a 5-3 team, yes.
Yeah, a 5-3 in 117th place.
That sounds correct, yeah.
Yep, this is another place. So, tough start to the day. Started 2-3, rallied back to get points. Good on you, Benjamin, getting those top 128 points after a 2-3 start to the day. How the mighty have fallen.
That's like, kind of why I wanted to talk about this. I think this might be the top-ranked Zacian team.
And, like, that's the thing. It's like, this is a Pokemon that, in 2022...
I lied. There's one in 101 and then this. So, yeah, on Breakers, they were ranked higher.
Yeah. Yeah, 101... And honestly, like, this team is kind of more of what we expect. Regidrago has overall become like the main partner of Zacian. You create this a 2-mon fantasy core. Both of them really, really love Tornadus. Both of them also like the support that they get from Chien-Pao, or at least the synergy they get from Chien-Pao.
Well, Drago doesn't really
Urshifu
do
also.
anything with Chin-Pao.
It's more so like just like just pressure.
Yeah,
being out
another
there.
really powerful mon that like you need to be able to focus down
Yeah.
and ignore the Reggie Drago, and then you get punched by a Dragon Energy and you're set. Yeah.
Yeah. Of course, like the Urshifu was an Urshifu. Not much to talk about here. The Okidogi is the interesting one. I believe that we've seen an Okidogi on a team similar to this recently.
Every time I see this mon, I think of Carl, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
he knows how to play this. I don't. I can't figure it out. I'll leave it to him.
One of my locals, who was also on Team New England, is like like the loyal three are their favorite Pokemon, and so they like
Really.
Yeah,
Really?
They like used Okidogi on so many teams, and I will say this: there was like one Okidogi team that they did bring that actually like that won a set for me, for our team. That was pretty impressive. But yeah, like ever since Regulation D, they picked up Regulation E. When they picked up VGC, like they almost always bring like Okidogi, and it's like just one of their favorite Pokemon. It's a really good bond. It's a really interesting Pokemon. Like you could tell, like the way that they built it, the guard dog ability specifically. Like this was supposed to be like the Incineroar Punisher, but Incineroar is just too good, and it doesn't do a ton against non-Incin teams. But for a team that has Zacian and Chien-Pao, you really do want a Mon that can punish Incin and punish Intimidate, and Okidogi's able to do that. What another thing that's really nice is upper hand stopping fake outs.
Mm-hmm.
So it allows you to go Terra Dragon, Dragon Energy, and you don't have to worry about, I'm going to get faked out or anything, and I'm going to lose momentum. I can upper hand the fake out Mon, and I can click my move there. Like that's a really cool thing that Okidogi can do. Ever since the Blueberry Academy DLC. So like it makes sense. I can see it. I think it's just at a point where by the time this Pokemon was introduced, all of the other super broken Pokemon were out there. Like if we had Okidogi but no Urshifu, I think like as a fighting type you would see Okidogi a lot more. As a fighting type that punishes Incin, but Urshifu was a fighting type that punishes Incin and everything else. So like that's at least at least how I view it. But yeah, overall really cool team. Came back and did pretty well to get points. And yeah, I think that's our coverage.
There was, I want to say, like a single like Reggie Eliki, but it was done in like 128. And there's actually there's 4 Elikis. The highest ranking one was 128 at 4-4. So it technically made points. Right? 128's the cutoff.
Yeah, I think 128 was the cutoff here. And yeah, and that 6, it's just the team that we saw in Najit Joshi use like the Calyrex Ice, Lando Eye, Aleki team with Waterfoo, Rock Pond, and Fergaraf. We've talked about that 6 before. I don't think we really have to dive into it.
There was also a Dusclops Iron Jugulus team at 120, which I thought was really cool.
We'll just throw that on the screen real quick. Yeah, this is your Quark Drive team.
Yep. Yeah, Yeah, it seems really cool. That's really all I wanted to touch on. Is just like, hey, this exists.
Yep. No, this is neat. Like
also made points, so like can't complain.
Yeah, using Jugulus as your Covert Cloak Tailwind Mon instead of Whims, like Iron Crown. Like we've seen a lot of Iron Crown popping up. It not just on clearly not in the Miraidon teams we talk about on the Sun team. So like people are finding a spot for that Pokemon. So maybe there is a way to get in. So who can say? But yeah, interesting team. Congratulations to Oliver for getting points with it. And with that all being said, do you want to try taking this out, or is that going to be... So you want to lead, but not finish? I see how it is. Okay, so with that all being said, thank you very much thank you very much, everyone, for joining in with us and our Stockholm regional coverage. If you want to hear more, you can, of course, go to our litany of episodes on our YouTube page at Littleroot Lessons, where not only do we have our podcast that comes out every single Monday, but we also have a ton of other videos expanding different meta breakdowns. Like if you want to look at previous formats, we have a lot of stuff from previous Scarlet and Violet formats, previous generations. We have the interview series, Little Record. We have Carter's Nuzlocke when they go live, which, assuming that his computer is fully 100%, we're going to be seeing a lot more Blue Kaizo streams popping up on his Twitch, which is...
I am at Mr. Missouri 25 on literally every social you can find me on.
Are you on Blue Sky yet?
Yeah, I've been on Blue Sky for several months at this point.
Okay, well that's great. You can follow him there.
I don't think I've literally posted anything there, but yeah, you can find me there.
Yeah. And you can pretty much find all of us on Blue Sky as well. At Littleroot Lessons, that's where you get all the updates on when videos are going up. When I know that Carter is streaming, I make sure to post it on our Blue Sky as well. So tune into that to make sure, like, if you aren't already following him on Twitch, you can get the updates there. You can, if you want to support us all, we have our Patreon as well. Links are in the show description. And of course, you can find us on all podcatchers, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google's dead, I think, and any of the other niche podcatchers that you can use to your heart's content. I think I got everything.
Yeah, sure. If not, Jay will cover it.
Exactly. And with that, have a great weekend. Well, nope, it is the weekend. Have a great week, everyone. So close.
Terrible.
Stumble at the landing.
Terrible. You were literally 10 feet from the ground and you just nose-dove.
Happens.
No, it doesn't.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.